Right now, and boy, we have a cold morning ahead of us as well. But look at the ride we've been on. Let's just take New York as an example. Last weekend, we were into the 70s, above average into the 60s, and just a few short days later, we're looking ahead at highs into the 30s. It's one thing to have those 30s. At this time of year, we can deal with it, we know it, but to go into that kind of swing is really just kind of mean. Average low this time of year, by the way, 43. The earliest low of 24 or lower, November 5th, 1879. Look at where we're going to be tomorrow morning. And then we bounce back up to low temperatures that will be above freezing. But not before we threaten a couple of records in a few places. Boston, New York, Pittsburgh, and D.C. It has been a long time since we've seen such a widespread risk of some record lows across the Northeast, including in other spots too. Mark. Mike, thank you so much. And we are definitely entrenched in that cold right now. Take a look at the highs compared to average, and all the pink dots here represent those spots that are going to be at least 15 degrees below average, and that's Minneapolis. You've got Omaha, Chicago as well. We are going to see that into the Northeast too. Highs only near 20 Binghamton, only into the 30s from Boston, New York, D.C. into the lower 40s. Again, this is in stark contrast to where we were looking ahead to last weekend, right? But here we are tomorrow morning, rude awakening. Lots of record potential here. Burlington down to 18. We've got 27 for the low in D.C., 25 degrees in New York. So if you've got that early football playoff game or soccer or anything outdoors, be prepared. And it's not warming up a whole lot during the afternoon with highs in the 30s and the 40s. Into the early part of the next week, though, some recovery.
Third loss in a row.
You're so adorable.
I tried.
So we have a Rutgers grad. I'm a Penn State grad. We're battling it out on the gridiron. But on my turf, homecoming.
Yep. 31-point favorites.
But who's counting?
But then again, no one thought they would lose to Iowa.
Listen.
Oh, I went there.
We're fighting.
Oh, I went there.
We're so fighting right now. Temperatures are staying into the 30s. Let's move on while I still like you.
All right.
I'm wearing Georgia Bulldog colors right now. So they're #1. Wow, right?
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, that's until the last game of the season when they meet up with Tech. Sorry, Brandon. Number 10, Auburn Tigers. We'll see. This is one people had circled even before they were #1, right? At Auburn, big game, and no one can blame the weather for being in the way.
You're not making any friends.
Hey, you gotta pick fights when you get them.
All right, we've got the Horned Frogs against the Sooners. 50s here with cloudy skies. Tomorrow kickoff at 7 o'clock Central Time in Norman, Oklahoma.
This is a huge matchup. 5 versus 6.
Yeah, those are always good.
Some NFL action. The Packers taking on the Bears. Always, that one of the rivalry games. You've got some showers just leading into game time, and then it should be better. But the tailgating could be a little bit less than
cold
perfect.
rain. And for Dr. Postel, go Pack, go!
There you go.
All right, it's official. La Nina is something we'll be keeping an eye out for. The long-term forecast, we're going to talk about that in a second. But how about the short-term for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, not too bad, although
this winter, the question is, what does that mean?
All right, we want to educate you when you start seeing those headlines about La Ninas and the crazy winter, what it really, really could mean for you.
Right. So before we get to that, that's more of a seasonal view. Let's look at what we think the weather is going to look like Thanksgiving week. Now, this is also kind of a long way out, Maria, but it is, according to the ECMWF or the Euro model, probably going to be colder than average in the east. Now, there's no guarantees here, but that's the way it's looking.
All right, and Thanksgiving week rarely disappoints when it comes to big winter storms, so we'll have to see.
Doesn't it seem like that's the case all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so that gives us an idea of what that looks like. So what's the pattern that's setting up that's leading to that?
Okay, well, we talk about La Nina and El Nino. Those refer to changes in the ocean water temperatures in the tropical Pacific. Why does that matter over North America? Because it can change the jet stream significantly. There's no doubt about that. How much it does is the other question. We'll call this sort of a typical La Nina jet stream pattern, which sort of shows up more often than not during the winter months, where you've got a dip in the jet stream in the east, but not that far south. So the southeast, typically in a La Nina winter, is warmer than average, and the northwest is typically colder than average.
You have to think about how far that connection is, though. I mean, you're talking about a phenomenon off the South American coast, affecting us in the lower 48. It's a reach sometimes, but it is an important puzzle piece. But this is, you could just throw anything at you with a La Nina.
So going back in the past and looking at La Ninas, and in particular weak La Ninas, the kind that we think we will be in this winter, you can pretty much find whatever you're looking for, Maria. And I know you like it cold. It turns out in 83, 84, the La Nina winter was cold pretty much everywhere.
I'm calling that one.
2011-12, it was warm everywhere. I'll take this one. But pretty much be careful with what you hear. La Nina, El Nino only account for a small part of the variability.
And you know, we'll continue to make those connections and fine-tune it.